So now I will explain the introduction. The valuation of the multi-story parking complex at Rajaton Uda Library is conducted for assessment tax purposes under the Local Government Act 1976 at 171. The property owned by the Selangor Library Corporation and operating since 2019 was developed to address parking shortage and traffic congestion around the library area. The parking complex provided with 593 car parking space and 48 motorcycle parking space, with facilities such as elevator, CCTV, security system, and a manual parking payment system. In addition to parking services, part of the fourth floor is used as a multi-purpose spaces for programs such as car boot sales and other activity, and the parking fees are charged at RM2 per entry. The parking facilities record more than 400 vehicles on weekdays and over 800 vehicles on weekends, generating daily income exceeding more than 100 from parking fees and space rental. Therefore, this valuation study aims to determine an appropriate annual value by considering factors such as location, use, physical condition, accessibility, facilities provided, and current market condition. Next, I will explain the term of reference. The term of reference is an important component of a valuation report that outlines the scope, purposes, basis, and limitation of the valuation assignment in accordance with the Malaysian Valuation Report. This valuation undertaken for rating purposes to determine the annual value of the subject property, which is a multi-story stand-alone parking complex located within the Raja Tun Uda Library compound, Shah Alam, Selangor. The valuation has been prepared based on the agreed scope of work and reflect the rental value that may reasonably be expected from the property. In determining the annual value, consideration has been given to the factors such as property location, use, physical characteristic, facilities provided, and prevailing market condition. The valuation is also subject to the assumption and limiting conditions stated in the report, which govern its use and application. Next, I will explain the basis of valuation. The basis of valuation adopted for this exercise is market value, as defined under the Malaysian Valuation Standard 7 edition 2025. The market value refers to the estimate amount for which a property should exchange between a willing buyer and willing seller in an arm's length transaction, where both parties acknowledge the ability prudently and without compulsion. The subject property is a multi-story parking facilities within the Pustaka Raja Tun Uda Complex, Shah Alam, which operate as an income-generating property through parking charges. In assessing its market value, consideration has been given to factors such as location, accessibility, physical characteristic, parking capacity, occupancy level, and income-generating capability. The valuation is undertaken using investment method, reflecting the property recurring income and economic potential under its existing use and prevailing market condition. Next, I will explain the interest to be valued. For the purpose of this valuation, the interest value is unencumbered interest in the subject property, being the multi-story parking facilities situated within the Pustaka Raja Tun Uda Complex, Shah Alam, Selangor. The valuation is undertaken on the assumption that the property is held with good and marketable title, free from encumbrance, adverse interest, claims or restoration that may materially affect its value. Furthermore, the assessment is made on an as-is basis and subject to vacant possession, and the interest value has been considered in accordance with the available title information, property ownership particular, and the scope of work prescribed for this academic valuation exercise. Next, I will explain the purpose of valuation. In accordance with the Malaysian valuation standard, the purpose of valuation is to determine the value of a property based on a specific objective and form of information component of the term of reference. For rating purposes, valuation is undertaken in line with provision of the Local Government Act 1976 at 171 and aim to establish a value for local authority assessment purposes. The subject property is a multi-story parking facilities within the Pustaka Raja Tun Uda Complex, Shah Alam, which generate income through parking charges. Therefore, its income generating capability, occupancy level, and operating performance have been considered in the valuation process. This valuation is conducted for academic purposes using rating valuation principle and investment method. In accordance with Malaysian valuation standards. Now I will explain the date of inspection. The subject property was inspected on 26 May 2026. The inspection was undertaken for the purpose of observing and verifying the physical characteristic, accommodation, accessibility, condition, use, and operation feature of the property relevant to the valuation exercise. Next, I will explain the date of valuation. The valuation date adopted for this report is 26 May 2026, being the date of inspection. All analysis, assumption, and conclusion contained within this report are made with reference to the market circumstances and property condition prevailing as at that date.
Hi, good morning. My name is Muhammad Fidaus bin Muhammad Azan. My student ID is 2024-281994. I will begin with the particulars of title of the subject property. The subject property is a multi-level parking building located at lot 911337 at Mukim 41 Bandar Shah Alam in the district of Petaling, Selangor Darul Ehsan. The property is situated on state government land and administered by the State Secretary of Selangor. No individual's title is available for inspection as the land remains under state ownership and has not been subdivided. This is common for land used for public or institutional purpose. For the purpose of this valuation, the title is assumed to be good and free from any encumbrances affecting the value of property. There are also no restriction in interest and no recorded encumbrances. Thank you. Next, I will explain the location of the subject property. The property is strategically located within the compound of Pustaka Raja Tun Uda in Section 13 Shah Alam, Selangor. Based on my load data, the coordinates of the land are approximately latitude 3.088374 and longitude 101.531491. The building is positioned next to the library and serve as the main parking facility for visitors to the Perbadanan Perpustakaan Selangor. The surrounding areas consist of government offices, educational institutions, commercial buildings, and residential areas. In terms of accessibility, the property is well connected via major roads such as Persiaran Damai and Persiaran Datuk Menteri, which provide direct access to Shah Alam city centre. Due to its strategic location, the demand for parking is high, especially during the weekends. Thank you. Now, we moving on the description of the property. The subject property is a purpose-built multi-level parking located within the Pustaka Rajatun Uda complex. The building has been operational since 2019 and function as the main parking facility for visitors and library users. It was developed to cater the increasing demand for parking spaces and to improve convenience for users. The building provides parking for both cars and motorcycles. It is equipped with facilities such as passenger lift, CCTV, security system, and a manual parking payment system. Based on the inspection, the overall physical condition of the building is good, and the level of utilization is high, especially during weekends. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shweta Vidyasan, and I'm going to present 9.1 to 9.4. For the first one, 9.1 is site description. The subject property is located within PPAS, the Raja Uti Complex in Shah Alam, Selangor. It's formed part of a government-owned institutional development that supports educational, cultural, and public services activities within the surrounding community. The land is owned by the state government of Selangor and it is administered by the Situte Kerajaan Negeri Selangor. The property benefits from excellent accessibility through the Shah Alam's well-established road network, allowing convenient movement to and from side to side. It is strategically situated within an urban area and is surrounded by various institutional governments, recreation and government developments, which contribute positively to its overall effectiveness and functionability. Furthermore, the site is generally level, is topography, and it is supposed to indicate infrastructure and utility services. Its strategic urban location provides convenient access for its visitors, staff, and member of the public, enhancing the property's overall utility and value. 9.2 is building description. The subject property is a purpose-built multi-story parking facility developed to support visitors and staff of the PPAS to nurture the complex. The facility commenced operations in 2019 and is currently managed by the Perpustakaan Selangor PPAS. It is constructed as a reinforced concrete structure designed primarily to accommodate vehicles parking demands within the complex. In addition to its main function, the building includes a flexible multipurpose area located at level 4, which is used for various events and community activities. The facility is reported to be in a good physical condition and remains fully operational. It is designed incorporates modern parking facility standard, including appropriate safety features and accessibility provision to ensure efficient and user-friendly operation. We move on to 9.3, parking accommodation. The facility provides approximately 593 car parking bays and 48 motorcycle parking bays to accommodate users. It also includes designated parking spaces for persons with disabilities, which is OKU users, as well as the allocated parking areas for staff members. The multi-story park serves as a primary parking facility for visitors to the PVS to nurture the complex. It's experienced high utilization, particularly during weekends and library-related events, reflecting a strong parking demand in the area. Overall, the parking capacity is considered inadequate to support the operational of the complex. The facility also contributes to reducing roadside parking and traffic congestion within the surrounding area. In terms of operations, it adopts a flat rate parking payment system for users. Next, 9.5, which is parking circulation and layout. The subject property is a multi-level parking structure that is connected through ramps and internal circulation routes to facilitate movement within floors. The design is intended to promote efficient traffic flow while minimizing potential vehicle conflicts within the facility. The parking bays are arranged in accordance with the standard public parking design requirements to ensure usability and compliance with the established guidelines. The facility is equipped with control entrance and exit points that incorporate parking management system to regulate access and improve operational efficiency. So dedicated parking area are also provided for persons with disabilities or key user as well as the staff members. So overall, the layout is functional and well suited for high value public parking usage.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Adlina and I'm going to present the building condition and maintenance. Based on the site inspection and information provided by the management, the building is in good physical condition and remains fully operational. Maintenance is carried out through an in-house management system with regular servicing of the building, structure, building services, and safety system. The property also incorporates a solar energy system and the annual maintenance expenditure exceeds Rm 500,000. This indicates that the building is well maintained and remains suitable for its intended function. Moving on to occupation and usage. At the date of valuation, the property is fully occupied and utilized as a multi-story parking facility serving the PPAS Tun Raja Uda Library Complex. Traffic volumes exceeds 400 vehicles per day during weekends and may exceed 800 vehicles per day during special events. Although part of the level 4 occasionally used for the community programs and events, the building's primary functions remains as a public parking facility. Onwards to the services, the property is equipped with the necessary services required for its daily operation. These include passenger lifts, CCTV surveillance, security monitoring system, control vehicle entry and exit system, a manual parking payment system with on-site personnel, designated parking bays for OKU users and city staff, and a solar energy system. The facility operates on a flat rate parking charge of Rm 2 ringgit per vehicle entry, and the available services are considered adequate for the current use of the. Next is town planning considerations. For the town planning considerations, the property is situated on government-owned land administered by the state government of Selangor. No individual titles has been issued because the property forms part of a larger government landholding. The existing use of the multi-story parking facility is compatible with the surrounding institution developments and provide essential parking infrastructures for PPAS Tun Raja Uda. According to the management, there are currently no plans for major upgradings, redevelopment, or change of use. Therefore, the existing use is considered appropriate and consistent with the planning character of the area.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. My name is Raisa Rosli, and now I'm going to continue this presentation by explaining to you about the valuation methodology that we use to calculate the market value of this pustaka. Okay, moving on the valuation methodology, we adopt the investment method to determine the market value of the subject property. This method is commonly used for income producing properties because the value is derived from the property ability to generate future economic benefits. Since the subject property operates as a multi-story parking facility and earn income through parking charges, the investment method was considered as the most appropriate. Under this method, we first estimate the gross annual income generated by the parking operation. Operation expenses are then deducted to drive the net annual income Finally, the net annual income is capitalized using an appraisal yield to determine the market value of this property. Okay, next I'm going to explain about the justification of the method. Okay, the investment method was selected because of the subject property generates recurring income through parking charges collected from visitors and users of the library complex. The property demonstrates measurable income supported by daily parking demand, vehicle turnover, and event-related activities. The comparison method was considered less suitable due to the lack of directly comparable multi-story parking facility within the locality. Similarly to the cost method, mainly focus on construction costs and may not adequately reflect the income producing capability of the property. Therefore, the investment method provides the most reliable indication of the market value. Okay, next is valuation assumption. As complete operational record were not available, several assumptions were adopted in accordance with accepted valuation practice. For income estimation, we assume a parking charge of RM2 per vehicle entry, with re-entry transaction equivalent to 50% of daily vehicle volume. We also assume four major events per month, resulting in full occupancy of the 593 parking bays during event day. For expenditure, parking guard salary were assumed at RM1,700 per month or per person, while annual cleaning and operational expenses were estimated at RM35,000. Additionally, only 50% of the overall maintenance expenditure was allocated to the parking facility, as the parking building forms part of a larger library complex. A capitalization yield of 7% was adopted to reflect the operational characteristics and risk profile of the property. Okay, next is for valuation. Based on our analysis, the parking facility generate an estimated gross annual income of RM622,542 per annum. After deducting operating expenses and outgoing amounting to RM325,800 per annum, the resulting net annual income of RM296,742. The net annual income was then capitalized using a 7% yield. This produced a capitalized value of RM4,239,171 which then we rounded to RM4,240,000. Okay, next is opinion of value. Having regard to the property location, accessibility, physical characteristic, occupancy pattern, and income generating capability, we arrive at an opinion of market value. The valuation reflects the property ability to generate future economic benefit through parking operation under normal and stabilized operating conditions. Therefore, the market value of the multi-story parking facility at Pustaka Raja Tun Uda is assessed at RM4,240,000. Okay, next I'm going to explain about ratings. Okay, for this academic exercise, the assessment test was estimated based on the annual value previously determined from the party operation. The annual value adopted is RM296,742 per annum. A commercial assessment rate of 7% based on the rate structure published by Majlis Bandaraya Shah Alam or MBSA was applied. Therefore, the estimate assessment test is RM20,772 per annum. This figure is provided for academic purposes and remains subject to the final classification and assessment rate adopted by the relevant local authority. Okay, next is about factors affecting annual value and rating assessment. Several factors were considered in assessing the annual value and rating implication of the subject property. Firstly, the strategic location and good accessibility of Pustaka Raja Tun Uda contribute positively towards visitor traffic and parking demand. Secondly, the property function as a purpose-built parking facility which support recurring income generation. Thirdly, parking demand, occupancy level and visitor turnover directly influence the income producing capability of the property. In addition, programs and events organized by the library increase visitor attendance and parking utilization. Operational expenses such as maintenance, security, cleaning also affect the net income attributable to the parking facility. Finally, the property form parts a public institutional development and therefore its operational role extends beyond pure profit generation. This factor was collectively considered in determining the annual value and assessment tax estimation. Okay, in conclusion, the parking facility demonstrate stable utilization and recurring income generation based on the adapted annual value of RM296,742 and the MBSA assessment rate of 7%. The estimate assessment that is RM20,772 per annum. Having regard to the location, parking demand, operational characteristic, and public institutional function of the property, the adopted annual value and rating assessment are considered reasonable for the purpose of the academic valuation exercise. Okay, next is about limited condition. Finally, several limited conditions apply to this valuation. Information obtained from management and available documents were accepted in a good faith and assumed to be accurate. Official building plan were not available, therefore the floor layout included in the report were prepared based on site inspection and measurement. No structural or engineering investigation was carried out, and the property is assumed to be free from defects or undisclosed encumbrance affecting value. Lastly, this valuation was prepared solely for academic purposes and should not be relied upon for financing, investment, or legal purpose. To conclude, this valuation exercise was undertaken to assess the value of the multi-story parking facility located within the Pustaka Raja Tun Uda complex Shah Alam. In accordance with the mentioned valuation standard and rating valuation principle, the valuation consider various factors including the property's location, accessibility, physical characteristic, parking demands, occupancy patterns, and income generating capability. Given the recurring income generated from parking operation, the investment method was adopted as the most appropriate valuation approach. Based on the analysis undertaken, the property was estimated to generate a gross annual income of RM622,542 per annum and a net annual income of RM296,742 per annum. After capitalizing the net annual income at an adopted yield of 7%, the market value of the subject property was assessed at RM4.24 million. For rating purposes, the annual value was assessed at RM296,742 per annum, and the estimated assessment debt based on the adopted MBSA assessment rate of 7% was calculated at RM20,772 per annum. In conclusion, the property demonstrates stable utilization, sustainable income generating capability, and continue to play an important supporting role within the overall operation of Pustaka Raja Tuk Uda.